Arsenal have 3 transfer solutions to Kai Havertz injury as Andrea Berta reacts to nightmare. Football.London breaks down 3 potential summer transfers Arsenal could consider in the wake of Kai Havertz's injury. The news that Kai Havertz is set for a spell on the sidelines comes as a real hammer blow for Arsenal, who had just got themselves into a position of having 2 options for every role in their team. Having suffered the most individual issues last season of any club with 27 that also included a hamstring injury to Havertz that required surgery, it is painful reading. Although we are yet to get full clarity on the German's return date, which will likely be provided by Mikel Arteta in some form in his press conference on Friday, the club are understood to be more active in the market. There was always an openness to more business, but it was predicated on outgoings to help free up funds and space within UEFA's financial fair play restrictions, which now sporting director Andrea Berta is working hard to navigate. With that in mind, Football.London looks at a few options that the club could consider to strengthen their attacking line and help cover the loss of Havertz. It is worth bearing in mind that one of the attractive aspects of Victor Gyökeres' arrival is his attendance, touch wood, which will factor into the type of forward the club goes for in the expected mid-season return of Gabriel Jesus from his own knee injury. Arsenal sent clear Alexander Isak transfer instruction after Kai Havertz injury. Arsenal given chance to hijack Alexander Isak to Liverpool transfer after Kai Havertz injury. Ibaraki. Although it had seemed that Arsenal were no longer in the race to sign Ibaraki, and despite the fact that the player is not a striker, the loss of Havertz also means the loss of depth beyond just the centre-forward role. Having already had discussions surrounding a deal for the Crystal Palace player, it could be that the Gunners now reinvigorate their push to sign him, Ademola Lookman. Again, a player who might become attractive due to their versatility is Ademola Lookman. Football.London understands the player has been offered to several Premier League clubs already this summer as he seeks a move away from Atalanta, with Inter Milan failing to meet their valuation after a €45 million £38 million bid was rejected. Arsenal have looked at potential left-wing options, so they will already be familiar with Lookman. His ability to play through the middle in the wake of the Havertz news furthers his appeal. However, his time in the Premier League with Everton and Fulham was not too successful, which has led to many having doubts about the Nigerian international, but his rise in Serie A cannot be denied. Rodrigo. A dream option for many, the Real Madrid winger continues not to be among Xabi Alonso's plans. With Manchester City seemingly keener to keep hold of Savinho, they are out of the race for now. The problem Arsenal have is the price tag, which many believe is around €90 million £77.8 million. Already wary of UEFA's financial fair play restrictions, sales would almost certainly be needed to constitute a permanent move unless they can find some alternative agreement or a potential loan with an option instead. Rodrigo can play across the front 3 and has been on the club's radar this summer as a potential market opportunity. Kai Havertz suffers injury blow as Arsenal handed triple worry ahead of Leeds clash. The latest Arsenal news is the Gunners take on Leeds United at the Emirates Stadium on Saturday. Arsenal have been handed concern over 3 players ahead of the first home Premier League match of the season this weekend, with Kai Havertz reportedly suffering an injury blow. The Gunners take on Leeds United at the Emirates Stadium on Saturday, 5:30 p.m. kickoff, as they look to build on a opening day 1-0 win over Manchester United last time out. Ahead of the game, Mikel Arteta has been putting his squad through their paces in an open training session at the Emirates Stadium on Wednesday morning. However, the absence of 3 players may cause an injury worry ahead of the clash against Leeds. Arsenal transfer news today live. Havertz injury, Rodrigo update, Ibaraki's race. Arsenal sent clear Alexander Isak transfer instruction after Kai Havertz injury. Arsenal sent clear Alexander Isak transfer instruction after Kai Havertz injury. The Gunners are on the lookout for a replacement after Kai Havertz picked up an injury. Arsenal could make a late play to sign Alexander Isak from Newcastle after Kai Havertz suffered a knee injury that could see him set for a lengthy spell on the sidelines. The Gunners held open training on Wednesday in front of supporters and Havertz was missing, with The Athletic reporting later that the German had picked up a knee injury in a huge blow to Mikel Arteta. Arsenal have already brought in £63.7 million man Victor Gyökeres to help solve their striker crisis, but an injury to Havertz will leave Arteta light in the forward department once more. Arsenal given chance to hijack Alexander Isak to Liverpool transfer after Kai Havertz injury. Leandro Trossard Arsenal contract extension explained amid final summer transfer worry. The plan at the Emirates Stadium was to focus on outgoing transfers before committing to potentially one more big signing before the window closed, but the injury to Havertz has changed matters. Sporting director Andrea Berta will now look to the market to bring in a replacement. At the start of the window it was a case of Gyökeres or Benjamin Sesko, who eventually ended up at Manchester United and played against the Gunners on Sunday in the opening game of the new Premier League season. But the dream signing was always seen to be Alexander Isak at Newcastle United. The Swede was, however, seen as off-limits, due to the Magpies' disinterest in selling and the £150 million price tag on his shoulders. However, things have dramatically changed on the Isak front in recent weeks, with Liverpool seeing a £110 million bid knocked back after Isak refused to return to training with Newcastle in order to try and force through a move. Isak released a statement on Instagram on Tuesday night saying, "I've kept quiet for a long time while others have spoken. That silence has allowed people to push their own version of events, even though they know it doesn't reflect what was really said and agreed behind closed doors. The reality is that promises were made and the club has known my position for a long time. To now act as if these issues are only emerging is misleading. When promises are broken and trust is lost, the relationship can't continue. That's where things are for me right now, and why change is in the best interests of everyone, not just myself." Isak is desperate to leave St James's Park and the feeling is that Liverpool will return with another bid to try and snap him up. But given Arsenal's previous interest and their need to reinforce now, could the Gunners move to hijack that potential deal? Is the money there to get another big money transfer through the door? If Arsenal did have the money to spend and could hijack Liverpool's move for Isak, it would represent a huge coup. And the Gunners have been told exactly how to do it, too. Sky Sports reporter Keith Downey said, "If some magic happened in the window and Newcastle managed to find a top-level replacement from somewhere for Isak and they brought in Wissa, then my understanding is Isak would be allowed to go if Liverpool upped their bid. I think it would need to be another £25 million on top of that £110 million plus add-ons for Newcastle to sit up and listen."